What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing today?
Hey guys, how's everyone doing out there tonight?
Hello, everyone. It's great to be here. Thanks for inviting me to be. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, I get the distinct honor of being the first then. That's wonderful.
Yes.
Sure. I kind of I found it interesting that one of the characters was named Senator Beale, and that is an Air Force base in California. Is that like any coincidence that?
Yeah, that would be a coincidence on that one. There's a lot of little hidden gems in my book, but that's not one of them. No, I was just just kind of pulled that name out of the air.
Okay, because it seemed like it might be possible that senator could be an illustrious senator from California.
Yeah, no, that part is no coincidence.
Okay, no coincidence. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, that was interesting to me, seeing all of those kind of plots play out. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I have three dogs, and I've always been kind of a dog guy, and I enjoy having dogs around, and they're pretty special to me. So, the idea just came about because I was trying to think of. I read a lot of post-apocalyptic fiction, and I was trying to think of an idea that would be something different than the typical premise for what most of those books are about. They usually start with like an EMP or an economic collapse or something like that. And so anyway, I got to thinking. I had a pup that was really special to me a while back, and he unfortunately got killed in a car accident, and it was I kind of had a special relationship with that little dog, and I got to thinking, what would happen? I mean, how much do we people care for their dogs? And I know there's varying degrees. There's people all over the board on that. When I was growing up, the dog belonged in the backyard, and that was it. But I've gotten closer with some of these animals, and it just occurred to me that some people really take this seriously, and I was one of them, and I wondered what would happen. It just hit me one day. I wonder what would happen if we discovered if dogs were the cause of a great calamity of some sort. Yeah, so the guy in my book, his name is Alvin. I have a liberal neighbor. He actually has a sign in his front yard that annoys me to no end that says proud union member. And so now I don't know this guy well, so everything about this guy Alvin in the book is completely made up, other than I know he's a liberal neighbor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm a retired Air Force guy. My specialty when I was in the Air Force, but I know, by the way, I know a lot of people say the Air Force isn't really the military; it's just a business. But I spent 20 years in, and I was a software engineer. So I played around with software most of my professional life, and that's after I retired. I went into business. I had an electronics payment business, and did that for a while until I sold it. And then since then, I've just been jumping around trying to do all sorts of other things. I'm involved in a lot of the big entrepreneurial community over here in Hardin County in Kentucky. Can you hear me?
They can't hear Gray Fox. Yeah. Yeah, while we're figuring out why Gray Fox can't be heard, so you mentioned just a minute ago that you live in Hardin County, and that was one of the main counties in the book, right?
Yeah, everything in the book is actually based on where I live. So even the little Twin Creeks community, that's a real place. I live there. So, you know, this was my first attempt at writing a novel. So I wanted to write about things I knew about, and I could actually go and see it and experience it. So that's one of the reasons I did that.
Okay. So this is your first novel. Do you have anything else in the works by any chance?
Yeah, I've got a couple things in the works right now. I got about halfway through a new novel that's not really, it's not a sequel to Canine Plague. It's a completely different book, but it's about it's political. Big surprise there, right? It's about I guess about government overreach, and so I turned it into a novel, and it's about a guy where everything possible that the government can do that can really piss people off happens to this guy. And so it's just kind of a big political rant, more or less.
Wow.
Gotcha.
Hey, can you guys hear me now in the chat? Let me know. Whenever you guys get a chance, because it's not like we're waiting on you or anything. Come on, Scott.
They're too busy looking at my fancy hat.
Let's see. I don't know if they can or not. All right, keep going, Chris.
No, they can hear you now.
Okay, good. Awesome. Fantastic.
I do. Yeah, I carry concealed, and I almost go nowhere without it. So yeah, I'm a pretty big proponent of trying to stay safe. Obviously. Yeah.
They can't hear you again. No?
I have to quit. So anyway, they can hear me. But anyway, so I thought that was really good writing on your part. I thought that one of the most interesting parts about it was how it all kind of binded together at the end. So very, very interesting. I thought it was cool. Did you write it like that when you were writing it out? Did you skip around like that?
Yeah, no, I pretty much wrote it in a linear fashion, you know, so the way you read it is the way I wrote it, one chapter after another. And it was, that was kind of a challenge doing that. Again, this was my first novel. didn't know much about the actual process of writing novels and whatnot. So it was a bit of a challenge, but I enjoyed it, and I was really worried actually that people would have a hard time piecing it together, because there was a lot of parts to it, and there were people in Washington D.C. and people in different places. So, but I'm glad you liked it. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's very good. It's very good. I'm gonna have to send it to you so you can sign it for me.
And if, in case, since we're not positive what you could hear from earlier, this is the book. It's called Canine Plague, and Burt is the gent who wrote. And I read this. For me, I mean, I read it pretty quick. It was kind of a page turner. I was on a flight for 6 hours, and I read a good portion of the book during that time period. But it was a pretty exciting story, and just a totally different take on a trigger event, and I found that to be pretty refreshing.
Yeah, that was my goal. One of my goals, anyways. I just felt like I read a lot of those books, and I actually enjoy them all. I don't care if I read 100 books that start with an EMP. I still enjoy them. To me, all of those kinds of books, including mine, ultimately get down to the underlying discussion in those books is about moral dilemmas. What do you do when you're faced with something that you wouldn't normally be faced with? So this is why people watch shows like The Walking Dead, and we like the zombie squishy stuff. But really, the reason they're so compelling, I think, is because these guys are faced with issues that wouldn't normally be faced with. And what do you do when somebody is starving and they come and ask you for help, and they're not bad people? What do you do about that? You've only got enough to feed you and your family. You got to make some tough decisions. So I think all of those books are like that. But in this case, I wanted to do something fresh and something different. And it was a bit of a stretch. I was really worried that was going to fall flat. I didn't think. I mean, the whole concept of, a plague for dogs, and especially it being fake, it was basically fake news event.
Right.
And
so it's kind of like current events, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one thing I liked about it, because I'm like Burt. I've read several hundred post-apocalyptic books, and this was extremely unique because the collapse was caused by something completely out there. But I also like the moral dilemma, like Burt was talking about, where the people have to make a choice. And in all the other books, it's a choice. It's you, and maybe you're protecting your family, so you can't give food to these people, or you protecting your friends, so you can't. But in Burt's book, it also ties in our love of pets. So the pets play such a big dynamic in the decision making of the people in the story, not just friends and family, but it's their pets as well. And when they're having to face the fact of, well, I might have to kill my dogs because of what is happening here, it really creates a new dynamic in the decision-making process of people that are facing a survivalist situation, and how their priorities play out within their whole family dynamic, including their pets.
Well, that's one thing that I found really interesting as well. And in a lot of the books, they get kind of into some of the technical details, like I should say, of gear, of that type of thing. This was almost like a study in the social contract, like
yeah,
right.
And I think that's how you intended it to be. You didn't dive in a lot into what their food stores were, or did they have solar panels or not, or you talked a little bit about that.
Right.
It was more about all of the social issues, the societal issues, whether it was nationwide, because you touched on that, but then you also drill down into the community, all the way down to the neighborhood level, and how those people interacted, how the community interacted after the shit hit the fan, and what they did to draw each other together. And I thought that was pretty cool, a really cool aspect of it.
Yeah, I think to me, what was interesting about the concept was, we're all faced with, fake news and all this kind of stuff. We see it today. That's as prevalent today as it was when I wrote it, if not more. but you see things, people adopt ideas and adopt causes, right? And they do it without really educating themselves about what it is. And so when you're faced, in this case, this was a family that really loved their dogs, and so does the country, right? And so if somebody told you that dogs were going to be a major health problem to you, and it turned out that it was true, then yeah, you'd have to do what these people did, right? But it turns out that it was fake. And even though it was fake, people still hung to their initial ideas about it because they don't like being wrong in their egos and everything else. So to me, that was a huge part of the book, was how people are so easily persuaded into believing something.
And manipulated by media.
Yeah, but if you're faced with something like, oh, I have to kill my dog, right, you might want to actually look into it a little bit more and dig in. And then I showed, how people didn't do that, Right. And I think that happens every day today.
Right. I thought it was interesting that I could tell you knew a lot about IT stuff when you were talking about how the hacker could still find the trace of her deleting the file.
Right.
And things like that. I was like, that stuff is always there. It doesn't, it always logs it. So somebody that knows what they're doing will always find that stuff.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting. I was like, of course they will. So that was pretty cool how you tied all that stuff in together. Not only that, but your writing of the original scene in the beginning of the book where, she's in there and kind of hiding out and goes in the bathroom and can't find that glove, and the drama of it was really oh my gosh, So that was really cool. Really cool. And then she opens the door and there he's standing there. Hi.
Well, it's interesting. I did probably more than I needed to do, but I did a ton of research, and I know nothing about medicine or medical research. And so I had to touch base with people that do that. And I was trying to find out, how do these people do medical research, and what kind of tools do they use? And so I had to dig in a little bit to find out about what terminology they use and what kind of, what these things are called. It was kind of fun. I actually enjoyed that part, the research.
That's awesome. I love doing that myself.
Researching for the book.
Pardon me?
How much time did you spend researching for the book?
Well, it was kind of ongoing, but prior to actually sitting down and writing the first chapter, because almost all that stuff that I had to collect about medical research was in that one.
Right.
I'd say probably 6 weeks or so I did research in that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, how long did it take you to write the whole book?
4 months.
4 months. That's it. 4 months.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you, John, shared this story with you, but I got a funny story to tell you about that. So,
yeah.
Again, this was my first book. I work from home, and my wife works at Fort Knox. So, I wrote the entire book without telling her or anybody else I was writing it.
Oh,
what?
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't tell anybody. And so, well, I told one person. I told my oldest daughter, because she's a good writer, and I was asking her for tips on it. And so she was the only one that knew. So when I got everything done, I got the editing, the publishing, all that stuff done, and I waited until it was available, the day it was available on Amazon, and I sat down and copied the link and sent it to my wife and said, "Hey, look what I found." So she actually had no idea I was writing.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So apparently it was fairly easy to get published.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm self-published, so I mean.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have a publisher. Anybody can publish a book.
Yeah.
And it's really not. It doesn't have to be expensive. It can be. But,
well, yeah, but mine would be like with pictures and crayon and
It's a picture book.
one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. That's about as far as mine would go. But yours was actually entertaining, so that's good. So that's fantastic. But no, that's great. So it has to have been successful. I mean, you have to be happy with how it's being received, right?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, independent publishing is just a brutally competitive market. and particularly post-apocalyptic fiction. I mean, there's a bunch of people doing it, and I was inspired by people. That's something else too I didn't mention, but I had actually gotten to know some of my favorite authors just on Facebook. And so I had contacted them, sent them email and stuff like that along the way, reading their books and thanking them for what they did. And anyway, a couple of them I contacted and told them, hey, I'm going to take a stab at this. Would you mind giving me some pointers? And it was amazing. I mean, every single one of them jumped in and mentored me through the process. So that was
awesome.
Cool. It's not something, I haven't bought my private jet or got a butler yet, but it paid for itself anyway. We can put it that way.
That's what counts, man. That's
the review
what counts.
were good, so that's
way better than having a YouTube channel.
Yeah, exactly, right? Well, see, I don't know if John has told you anything about me, but with my axes and things that I make, I exactly break even every month. That's exactly what I do, because I only charge a price that I have to keep going. You know what I mean? That's the whole point of what I do, is to get my products in the hands of people that'll actually use them, right? So, and I do custom stuff. So for me, it would be, I could charge a lot more for it, but then who actually would use the products would actually buy them? Would it actually go to the people that I want to have them? So, So I charge bare minimum so that I can break even, so that people get a chance to use it. And so I feel your pain on that. I'm not exactly about to to buy my own private island by any means, but as long as it's self-sustaining, I'm happy. So
that's the way I look at it.
So that's fantastic, man. I'm glad to hear that. So do you do a lot of prepping yourself?
Yeah, I've been a prepper for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years, I guess. And so the first few years I'm kind of the guy that when I get into something, I really jump in with both feet. So I went nuts with it the first couple of years, but and I overdid it. But
we all
last
do.
few years, you can really never have enough, right? But
No.
I've cut back on the amount of things that I buy now and the things that I do, because I feel pretty good about what I have. I'd like to have all the greatest, night vision gear and all this kind of stuff that's crazy expensive, which I don't. Yeah. But I'm going to survive a little longer than most people, that's for sure.
Right. No, I hear you. I'm the same way. And when I first started doing my preps, I focused a little bit too hard on forget the Band-Aids and just bullets, bullets and guns. That was my focus, right? So I had 17 guns and 5,000 rounds in every caliber and everything else, and I'm like, yeah, but shit, if I don't catch any food, I'm gonna die. So then I started figuring it out. That's what the bullets are for, right? Yeah. But I was like, man, I don't have any grains, I don't have any dried beans, I don't have any solar panels, I don't have any of that stuff. So then I kind of stepped back and refocused, and I started, getting my, my pots and pans and my water purification stuff, and I have solar panels now, and mobile solar panels. Then I have the regular solar panels that I can put up if I need them. I did a direct heat system so that I can have hot water, where it runs right off the solar panels. I don't have to worry about, electric heat for the water heater, different things like that I got into that I was like, okay. But honestly, you could spend all your money for the rest of your life and everybody else's money and still not have everything that you want.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's just an unlimited things number of things you can do to buy and prepare for, but you start with the basics and you work your way up. And when people ask me about it, that's what I tell them. I advise them to go slow, because I felt when I started, it was like I had this big epiphany, and I said, "Oh, the world's going to end tomorrow. I need to get everything." And so, it was kind of a panic thing, and I spent a ton of research on it. I really dug in to find out what I could, and I found out this whole new world of space out there on the internet about preppers that I didn't even know existed. Nobody does, right? Unless they're asking about it.
So that app that you discuss in the book,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that app?
That's an app called Proclivus. I actually wrote that app, and it's actually a real one. It's a free app. So I don't know if you know what a news aggregator is,
Yeah.
but that's
Yeah.
really what it is. So what it does is it goes out every single day, or actually every 15 minutes, and it scours all the sources that I could identify for new articles about prepping and or survival or homesteading, all the related things, and it pulls it into one interface, and you can sit there and read through it. There's categories, one for like food, and one for water, and
Wow.
one for firearms, and all that kind of thing. Actually,
could you spell that? Could you spell that website out for us? Because people are asking.
Yeah, it's Proclivus, Proclivus.
Is it an Android app or an iPhone app, or is it a website?
It's just an iPhone app, but you can actually get to it in a browser. So if you have an Android, you can pull it up just by going to proclivus.com. And it doesn't have all the features, but it's still got everything in it that all the content is the same.
Okay, cool.
Actually, I think, it was a total failure in terms of a financial enterprise. And I was really surprised by that, because I thought, this is a really amazing tool for anybody, especially beginners. If you really want to learn about, because I do some, I don't include all the sources that I found out there. There's some out there I don't like. And so I kind of curate it and look at what the sources are. And if I think they're good, I put them in there. I have probably 150 different sources. So, I mean, there's like a couple hundred new articles that come up every day, I think. So, but anyway, I mean, it was just, I did my best to go out and tell people about it. And it was just like fell flat on its face. Nobody wanted it. And I was kind of surprised by that. For me, anytime somebody approaches me about prepping that's interested in it, I always refer them to that and say, get this thing. This is your best tool. It's free. I can't hurt you.
Right.
So, and it's got a search capability and all that. So if you say, okay, what's new with water filters, right? So you just go in there and type in water filter, and it'll bring up all the latest articles on it. So anyway.
Well, I'll probably, or one of us, I'm sure, will probably end up linking that over on the BattleBox forums.
And I'll link it off of my website, and we'll link it on the BattleBox forums, and whatever. We'll post it out, because that sounds like a really cool tool.
Yeah, it is. I did another one too. That's it's called the Armory Report, and it's just for firearms. It's the same thing, except it's about firearms. So
that's what I'm talking about. And that's the Armory Report. Armory Report.
Yeah, just armoryreport.com, or the app on iOS is called Armory Report.
I use Android phones, sir. I apologize in advance.
Yeah, same here.
I put out an Android app when I first built it, and I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden it just stopped working. They did a major change to their OS, and it was really expensive. I had, to build the first one cost me a bundle, and then if you write them for another operating system, it costs you the same bundle over again. You can't make use of the code from one to the other.
Oh, that sucks.
Okay.
But anyway, it stopped working, and it was amazing to me. I was totally shocked. I actually went to a prepper, one of those prepper conferences, and I set up a booth right after I published that app. And I was really proud of it. I had this big, banner and all this kind of stuff, and I was showing people, and there were hundreds of people there. And almost without fail, everybody there said, "Oh, I'm on Android."
Right.
And I said, "Oh, okay, sorry." So that's when I decided to put it out on Android. Now, this is what's fascinating to me. I put it out on Android. I've had thousands of downloads on iOS. I bet 15 people didn't download it on that Android one. It was just amazing.
Now you can still get there through the armoryreport.com, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I have a question for everybody. Bug in or bug out?
Well, I'll give you my almost, I'd say 75% of my preps is based on staying right where I'm at. But part of that is because I live in a location where that's more doable than if I lived in a city somewhere, right?
Right.
But I don't go anywhere without a bug out bag either.
Yeah, neither do I.
Yeah,
So
I'm the
that
same
kind of-
way.
Oh, sorry guys. So, but that kind of mirrors the book. Like in the book, the main character it was a bug-in situation where he rallied his little neighborhood. So that makes sense. That makes sense to me. What about you, John?
I live, Burt, 15, maybe 20 miles separate Burt and I. We're in the same geographic area, and I got 14 acres here and close to 600 around me that's not populated. So I'm definitely staying right here.
Yeah, John's in a much better position than I am, but yeah, I mean that's a personal choice. I one thing I did do for prepping here most recently, that I got to thinking, I have all this stuff, and I remember going down and looking for something I knew I had, and I couldn't find it, and I had it all in my basement. So I took a whole week, and I went down and inventoried every single thing I've got. And I typed it into a spreadsheet, and then I organized it, and then I actually repackaged everything, put it in bins or certain places in my basement or whatever. So now I've got this little database where I can go in and I can type in anything, and it says this is in bin 1, shelf 3. And it's really kind of cool. And I took some of those things and I put a category on all of them and said, is this something I want to take with me if I have to bug out or not? And so I've got all those flagged that way. So I know exactly, and they're prioritized too. So I've only got one trunk in my car. These are the things I'm putting in it when I'm bailing.
Interesting.
So I've got my neighbors and I all have a group that kind of work together on this. My neighbor that's across the street from me is a plumber. And he's got all the water purification stuff behind his house, and it's all secured up. My neighbor just right to him is a cop, and he's got the biggest damn gun safe I've ever seen in my life. So he's got a lot of our extra stock stuff. It's almost like a small child's room, but it's a gun safe. It's crazy. So my whole block is set up for that. So I would say that I'm a bug-in person. But I also have at my office, I have 2 sets of bug out gear so that if I do have to bug out, it's in the direction that I'm going to bug out to. So if I had to leave my house or if I couldn't get back to my house, I'm able to get to 2 full sets of gear, one for myself and one for my wife, on the way out of town. So I'm not without everything. And I've got firearms and the 10Cs and you name it, I've got in those kits as well, including, enough food for about 2 weeks. So, so I've got that if I had to get out. But ideally, if I could, man, I'd rather stay here because I could live here fairly comfortably for a long time. So that's my plan.
Yeah.
John, did you have a specific plan, buddy? But I know you're staying at home, but
Staying in.
Yeah, staying in. Yep, gotcha.
Me too. Then everybody has bags to pack up to get out if we do have to get out. But with my neighbors, I'm kind of set up like you. My closest neighbor is a big homesteading, gardening guy. In fact, his whole job is traveling and speaking for Mother Earth News on sustainable living. So, and then neighbor next to him is a big gun guy. He's got 4 gun safes full of guns, and he owns 2 auto mechanic shops. So we've got mechanics covered. We've got pretty much everything. And I live on a dead end street off of a dead end street. So we're very secluded, and it's set up nice to be able to run perimeter security and keep anybody out that we want to keep out relatively easily. So if it does hit the fan, we'll be able to stay here and fend off some pretty good sized groups of attackers. And it would really take a lot to get us to bug out.
No, that's great, man.
One of the things that makes me nervous is that I actually have nobody nearby that is what I'd call preparedness enabled. And so, you know, you got to be careful too. You don't want to just broadcast to the whole world what you're doing, but people know, you know, they also know not to come up my driveway with their hands out if they don't have anything with them. But still, it's, I wish I'd like to have a group, you know, I really would. It's just that, just haven't found the right people that live near me.
Right. I'm in the same boat as you. And for me, like my scenario would most likely be a bug-in scenario unless I had enough kind of advance notice or feeling on the situation. And then I'd be I'd be snagging my kids, throwing bins of supplies and stuff like that in my truck and, you know, heading for where I grew up in Washington. But it's a 12-hour drive, you know, and a lot can happen in 12 hours. So. Right.
And the other thing I've been trying to do is make friends in every state. So, and that's a fact, you know, where I have, if I end up going somewhere, I always have something. I have a little map in my other room where I'm like marking where everybody lives that I've made friends with. So if I had to, I could go to their place. Like, that's a good idea. You know, like for example, if I ended up in Kentucky, I know I could go to John's place.
Right.
You know, or whatever. I know that, you know, if I go to Colorado, I could hook up with 10 different people. If I go up to Minnesota, I've got, you know, my family up there that has a ton of land. I have stuff in Munising. I have Michigan. I have, you know, so I'm trying to set it up so that I make friends with people in every state so that I have someone that's in that locale. So if I had to bug out and I couldn't go any further, I'd always have some place that I'm like, oh, I know where I can go. I can go see this guy. And they know who I am and they know what I'm bringing. So, you know, so we have that, you know, going on. So just a great thought.
Idea. Yeah.
So, hey, we had some questions actually from Michael Nichols for Burt. I don't know if you can read those still or not, but he talks about another author named Franklin Horton. And
one of my favorites.
Yeah, and he says he lays out survival plans and tools in his books, and he's wondering, do you write from personal experience? And then he also has another question: do you use the items in real life that you use in your book?
Most of them. I actually don't have any of those missiles that I used, the javelins.
Not yet. Yet, yeah. He says.
Right. But yeah, I mean, the firearms that are in there are ones that I own and carry sometimes. And so, yes, and I do, you know, everything I talked about that had to do with prep. And as you mentioned earlier, I don't go into near as much detail as Franklin and some of those other people do. I'd like to do that. I didn't on this book. But yeah, it's all from experience and from products. You know, the little prepping products that I mentioned in there about water filtration and solar chargers and those kinds of things. Yeah, I have those and have them available.
That's nice. Cool. Very cool.
I think that answers the question. That's cool.
Yeah. What Gray Fox said, because Michael brought up Franklin Horton, he wrote a book. It's called Locker 9, and there is a map very similar to what you have that plays a very big role in that book. It's a very, very good book.
I love that book. You know, I really liked it because, you know, I have adult daughters. And one of the things I've always struggled with is, what am I going to do to try to help them get home in the case, you know, some kind of big collapse happens. And so, you know, that's what that book's about. And it was really interesting. Of course, now his daughter in that book, I don't know if it's real or not, but his daughter in that book was very much into it. She understood, she was trained and that sort of thing. My daughter's not in the least. You know, they don't think I'm a kook, but it's close.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of chat about that a little bit in the book, so I'm guessing that those feelings are kind of mirroring what they're actually like. The two.
Actually, yeah. Those the young ladies in that book are my daughters, and they very much mimic their personalities.
Oh, that's great, man. That's the best way they say to write is to write from life experience. So that's pretty cool, man. Very cool. Definitely. Very neat. Very neat. What's that? Bugging in like-minded people. Surprise 30-mile hike home. Gray man and bushcraft way home. That's very cool, man. So
You asked about my neighbor, the liberal, and I live a little bit worried sometimes that somehow he's going to find out I wrote that book and read it. I think it would be kind of funny. He's actually a nice guy, but I probably haven't said. I've lived here in this house now for about 2.5 years, and I haven't said 100 words to him. So I don't really know him well, but I do know he's a flamer.
So as an author, who is your favorite? What is your favorite prep book of all?
I mean, gosh, that's really hard to say. There's so many of them, and
okay? Give me like 3 of them that you think are excellent reads, that you think are just fantastic.
I like A.R. Shaw's books. She's probably right at the top of my list. I think Franklin Horton is another one that's just, I love his work. And let me think. I'll think of another here in a minute or two. But
sure.
I read about a book a week, and almost always PA fiction. So it's just fun. It's interesting too. There aren't many bad ones out there that I've run across, and I wouldn't mention them if I could think of their names anyway. But I learned something from every one of them. As a prepper, I get ideas from every single one of them.
Critical's asking, what would you think? What's a good book for a beginner prepper? Do you have anything you recommend for that? What's a good resource for that?
Well, I assume you're talking about fiction.
No, in general, that's what Critical's asking.
Well, actually, I don't read much nonfiction. When I do, it's about really boring stuff like economics. And you don't want to get started on that.
That's not for me.
Just knowing Critical Customs, you would like this book. It'd be a good one to start you out on, I think, and then going from there. I think that this book is a great, because it just gives you, again, the social community aspect of it is something I think we overlook a lot. And I think, for Burt and I, we're kind of in a similar situation where we would have to essentially, being that we don't have networks close by, we would have to use our ability to persuade and talk to people and that type of thing to build a community on the fly. Yeah.
I think you'd be faced with that situation, and I've often wondered. I mean, I do read a lot of books where there's usually like one guy, and he's just Mr. Badass, and I, by the way, that book is very loosely based on me, but it's more about the guy I'd like to be, not who I am.
I know, that's how it goes, right? I know.
I'm really the badass that Stephen is in that book, but anyway, I kind of wrote it that way. But if you're faced with a situation, I think it's going to be inevitable. You're going to have some kind of community. Just imagine yourself having to fight people off all the time and stay up all night long every night to guard your places. It's just not doable, So I think that's important.
Yep. Well, I think Stephen was pretty much a badass when he went up against those 2 guys, or the guys messing with the old people with the dog.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty cool part of the book too. I enjoyed that because, for those of you who haven't read the book yet, there's a part in the book where, everybody's afraid of this canine plague, and so there's Stephen's going. He's at the gas station, right? Because he's going to find get his daughter. Is that correct?
Yeah, at a rest area.
Okay. And then, anyways, so when he gets there, he sees people trying to steal this elderly couple's dog. Their little, I don't know, what kind of dog was it? A little chow or something, or I don't remember.
I can't remember myself, but it was a
little dog. Anyways, so they're going to take this dog and they're going to kill it. And this old couple is besides themselves. They're not willing to give up that dog, and God knows what's going to happen. So Stephen goes and draws out on these guys like I can hear like High Plains Drifter music playing in the background when he goes up to So it was, that was pretty cool, man. I enjoyed that part of the book. That was very enjoyable. But needless to say, he helps out the old couple and makes the kids back off. That and another section where he makes this kid piss about 3 gallons worth of piss, which I thought was pretty interesting too.
Yeah, so that little park where that happened, that's a real park. And I do take my dogs out there to hike. And what's interesting about it is every once in a while, it seems to be, I mean, it's a beautiful place. It's really just nature and it's close by, and I got some great trails. And I love to take my dogs hiking out there. Well, every once in a while, there's a bunch of thug punks hanging around, and I've never been confronted by any of them. And I've often, there's a big sign down there, by the way, says no firearms, which I ignore. But I've often wondered what would happen if I was confronted by some of these guys. There's tweakers that they're everywhere, ruining it for everybody else. And so that scene came from something I contemplated where it could actually happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That didn't ruin the book for any of you guys either. That was just a little. If you go on Amazon, you hit the button, you'll be able to hear more than what I just talked about. So relax.
I think what he's saying is he's talking no spoilers for M27 because MJ. Yeah.
Oh, M27. Yeah, I haven't even gotten my.
What I'm wearing on my head, dude.
Yeah, that's right out there. But I haven't even gotten my my shipping confirmation yet, so don't worry about that.
Oh man.
I may mention something about that in my review too. We'll see what happens. But anyway, so that's fantastic, man. Very cool. So moving on a little bit, Prepper John is making something for Burt. John, do you want to show that bad boy off a little bit?
Okay, the preliminary grinding is done, and this bad boy is ready for heat treat. Burt contacted me and wanted a replica of the sword that Sonny uses in season 2 of Into the Badlands. I believe he took it off of somebody, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So,
what's interesting too is I like knives a lot, but I've never had an interest in swords at all. I don't know why. I just haven't. But when I saw that first episode with that sword, and I said, oh my gosh, I would do anything to have one of those. And then it occurred to me that John could make it, and so I started contacting him, asking him about it, and I'm really excited about it. And we were watching, I don't know if you guys all watch it or not, but there was an episode a couple episodes ago where he used that sword and sliced this guy's head in half from the top down to the bottom.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting there watching that episode with my wife, and she just didn't understand at all why I wanted to get this sword. So we were watching that episode, and of course she was cringing, and it was pretty gruesome. And I said, see, that's why I need that sword.
It's a prepping tool. It's like a can opener for somebody's skull. It's all good. That was pretty awesome, actually. I enjoy that show. I think it's really good.
In raw form just before heat treat. So this is the beginning of the blade. There'll be 6 brass rings here matching what was shown in the story.
I had somebody ask me the other day, John, what those brass rings were for, because I showed them what I was having made, and I said, I don't have a clue what those are for. They just look cool. I don't know if there's any function to that sort of thing or not. But
it's Chinese origin, and when they would put on displays or shows and like testing for the next belt and whatnot, you would tie streamers onto the rings, and then when you whip the sword around it,
okay,
a very fascinating visual display while you were doing your kata and doing your moves. And then if you're going into battle, you of course pull the streamers off because it slows you down, and you could either leave the rings on or take them off, but most of the time they were welded or soldered into place, so you would leave the rings on, and then it makes a neat noise when you swing it around. It kind of clangs the metal, but otherwise you would have streamers on it for display.
Hey John,
the blade is 24 inches long.
Wow, man,
And then
that's sick.
almost 17-inch handle. It'll be 40 inches overall. It's 1/8-inch 1095 steel. It'll have a black Cerakote, matte Cerakote on it. And then, Bert, if you want the engraving, we can get the engraving done on it with Gray Fox there. So that'll be your call if you want
Yeah,
to.
you know, I don't know what that engraving is on the one on the show or not. Is it?
It's just the New World writing is what it is. It's like their English for the new time period.
You know, I really would like something like that. That would be awesome if you could.
Okay.
Do it.
All right.
Of course, no problem.
Yeah,
But another thing with those brass rings is they act like a dead blow hammer. So
Yeah.
when you hit something, the rings are heavy brass, so they slam forward, and it gives a secondary shock after you hit something.
Oh.
So, when you swing, the rings are just kind of floating out there, right? But when you hit, all those rings go bam, like that, and it's like a dead blow, like a secondary hit. So, pretty cool.
Hey, John, just one more time. Can you hold that up so we can see it?
You got to make noise when you're showing it, though, because otherwise it switches off of you.
Wow. That's awesome. Say something again.
All right. I said it's a 24. Can you all hear me? It's a 24-inch blade. It's not going to me.
You're on.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a wicked looking blade. I don't know why it inspired
Be
me.
a brass handguard, and then round wood leather wrapped, a brass separator right here, and then a round wood pummel just like the sword in the show.
Wow. That's freaking
You have to
sick.
get some kind of display case for that, so I can hang it on the wall or something.
Right.
Wait, you're not going to actually walk around with it?
Yeah, maybe just carry it. I wonder if I could conceal that.
Yeah, it'd be hell to make a sheath with that with the rings popped out. How are you going to do that, John?
It's going to be half open. So it'll be closed at the tip. The tip will slide in, and then the handle will snap into the scabbard, and the center section of it will be open.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
Very cool, man. That's pretty sick.
I'm
Pretty
excited about it.
sick. So to be a little greedy, because I have a project with John as well. So a little update on the Sly Fox Skinners, my friend.
Okay. All the micarta is made. I've got all the handles cut out. All of the blades are ground, drilled, wrapped in foil, and the good portion of them are heat treated. Once the last of them are heat treated, they'll be out. I'll clean scale off of them. The Damascus, I'll clean them completely up, and then they get dipped in ferric chloride to etch them.
Right.
And then I'll attach handles and do the final sanding on them. So
That's awesome, man. So probably a couple weeks out, huh?
I should have some finished by the end of this week.
Man,
Not all of them, but it'll be like, I would say 10 or 12 days from now, I'll have them all done.
that's great, man. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. So you've heat treated the D2 steel already?
Yeah.
And that turned out okay? No problems, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Hey, John, you might tell those guys about the special request I made for the kind of steel you're using and how I have to pay you for it.
Oh, yeah. What was that? Oh. Yeah, it was, the cost was...
Valerian steel.
Yeah, Valerian steel, and the cost is 3 dragon eggs.
Oh, okay, I get it.
For me yet, but it's going to be Valerian steel, so if the White Walkers come, Burt can take care of them for us.
Another great show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little Game of Thrones reference thrown in there. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Another one of my favorites. That's awesome. So, Chris, you want to tell us about your trip, buddy?
Oh yeah. So I just had the opportunity to go out to North Carolina and fish with a couple of their fishing YouTube channels or just outdoor YouTube channels a couple weekends ago, and I just have to say, like, I really like the South. Like, coming from the cluster F that California is, with all of the people and the traffic and suburbia and just this and that, going to coastal North Carolina, the people are so nice.
Did you feel the Second Amendment growing in you on the East Coast?
Man.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
I wanted to just like shoot stuff.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Hung out in a little area called Oak Island and just fished and fished and fished. I wish I could have stayed there for a few more days. It was really, really cool. So I actually got this hat when I was out there.
Clams.
And Clem's Seafood from Southport, North Carolina. So, had a great time. I fished with a couple cool guys, Thomas Farlow from Southern Outdoors Fishing, and a crazy dude named Steve from Adventure Outdoors. And one night, Steve and I were sitting on his porch, because he's got that southern porch, looking out, over his front yard. We're sitting out there drinking some whiskey and, smoking cigars and stuff like that. And we started spitballing ideas for videos, and that's where Chris's beard was born. So thank him for that.
That was hilarious, man. There's actually 2 of those videos out now. Chris's beard part 1 and part 2.
Yeah, every Wednesday. I'm very inclined to move it to its own channel because it's so ridiculous,
Yeah. I think it's pretty good, man. I like it. I like it a lot.
Well, thank you.
So I made something for my boss. Let me grab it. I want to show you. It's something you haven't seen. Hang on real quick.
Really?
Yep.
Well, there he goes. John, show us that other thing you're making for the movie.
Okay. So we got a Star Wars film that's getting ready to be filmed. It's a fan film, and it's called Star Wars Hand of the Empire. And filming starts this weekend at my house. There's going to be 50 to 70.
All right. So my boss.
What? Hang
What?
on.
I'm sorry.
Keep going, John. John's talking really quick.
All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
There'll be 50 to 70 Star Wars people here, and we're going to start filming. And this is the chieftain sword for the Aboriginal people of the planet that is going to be my woods. It's about 5 feet high total. It's a nice long staff with a blade on the end of it. And it's going to be about a 45-minute long Star Wars fan film that's for charity for the local children's hospital in Louisville for all the proceeds going to. But found out today there's going to be some very interesting death scenes with this involving decapitation of stormtroopers, which I'm pretty excited about. So
Yeah.
I'll have some behind the scenes footage that we can probably link up on here. And when we do some shows after the filming gets going, I'm going to be out filming myself and be really cool. But this is the chieftain sword for Star Wars Hand of the Empire.
That's freaking sick, dude. That's freaking way sick.
Awesome.
So my boss is a huge Iron Man fan. Huge, incredibly, and that's my big boss. He's pretty high up in the company. But anyways, and huge, Stark Industries Iron Man fan. So I made this axe. If you can see that. See how it's got Stark Industries on that side? And then the other side.
Oh, that's awesome.
Is that cool or what?
Oh man, look at that.
Kind of neat.
That's some badass artwork.
Thanks, man. Yep. So the Iron Man Sly Fox Tactical Axe. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
That is nice.
Yeah. Very cool. So, and I did a polished head and reforged that, reheat treated it and everything else. It turned out great. It's sharp as hell, man. Oh my God, it's sharp.
I like the polished head. It looks really slick.
Yeah, it looks good on there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty cool stuff, man. So I have a feeling that he's going to be extremely, extremely happy when he gets that. He has no idea that I do this, have this whole other realm, the Gray Fox, Sly Fox Tactical realm. He has no idea I do this stuff at all. So, so I think he's going to be pretty happy when he gets that axe. My immediate boss does. So this is my immediate boss's boss. But but ultimately, of course, he's my boss as well too. And I'm going to see him tomorrow, so I'm going to bring that up to him. Think he'll get a hell of a kick out of it. You know?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. I love doing stuff like that, and I made a couple of really cool ones. I have a couple of neat ones in the works. I'm going to be doing a Patriot axe, you know, with all stars and stripes, but all done in stain. So that is going to be a unique challenge on its own. I have a new snakeskin one that I'm doing, which is going to be pretty cool. You know, doing those designs in stain is amazingly difficult, but that's kind of makes it fun. You know, is the challenge of it all, which is why I really enjoy doing it. And I don't know if you guys remember I did a black rattlesnake one for Falling Blue a while ago. And after I did that one, I was like, you know, I got to do another snake one. I have a couple of good ideas on what to do. So should be pretty cool. I got some cool things in the works. I actually have an idea that I'm going to do. I'm going to take a Spetsnaz shovel, and I'm going to do the handle to look exactly like Darth Vader's lightsaber.
Awesome.
Yeah, that would be cool.
It'd be kind of neat, right?
Yeah,
So and then I'm gonna have, you know, the center part of the shovel when it comes up. I'm gonna do that in like a glowing red, and then of course I'll leave the rest of it black. But I think that'll be neat because it'll go all the way around the whole handle, and I'll do an exact replica. I already downloaded the 3D specs, so between myself and Vixen, my wife, we're gonna make it look perfect. So. And then I'm going to do like an outline of Darth Vader's helmet on the black helmet face, or on the black shield face. So I think that'll be kind of neat and interesting. So yeah, so that's the next project. Nobody ordered it, and I don't know how much I would charge for it because there's probably going to be close to, 80 hours worth of work involved in something like that.
Wow.
You know, but I just think it'll be fun and a one of a kind thing. You know, so it'll definitely be worth having. Maybe I'll work something out with BattleBox and we'll do a giveaway with them or something. Who knows? We'll work something out, I'm sure, but it'll be something really, really unique.
You could have given it away on May the 4th. Come on, man, you missed.
That was a hell of an idea. Now you tell me, Chris. You're my idea guy. Damn it.
Come on. ESP. Jeez.
Chris, you got any other trips coming up? You doing anything? You got anything going on?
Yeah, I'm going to be going after some 30-inch trout. Or that's the goal. I'll probably catch a 5-inch trout, but I'm going to go up to Oregon and get the kayak wet on the Williamson River.
Maybe catch a trouser trout. That's about it. I'm just kidding.
Right.
I'm sorry.
No. Yeah.
I'm not even drinking tonight, man. Come on.
I know. I don't think any of us are. Don, how are you feeling after last time?
Right?
I'm feeling fine.
Of course you are.
Yeah. So yeah, gonna do that, and then I think that's the only thing I have right away planned. So,
Curran, I am absolutely going to Blade Show. I already have my tickets. I'm waiting on my press passes. But yes, I am definitely going to Blade Show this year.
Where is that?
It's in Georgia, Atlanta.
Oh, really?
Yep.
When is it?
June 3rd and 4th, I believe.
I didn't even know about it. So it's called the Blade Show?
Oh, it's awesome, man. If you've never been to Blade Show, you got to go.
I didn't even know it existed.
If you like knives, Blade Show is like Mecca. Right?
Oh my gosh! Yeah, that's only about a 6-hour drive for me.
Yeah,
so
no, man, it is so worth doing. It is just sick because you've got number one, you've got every knife manufacturer, everything they're coming out with. You got live demos of everybody. You know, Canterbury is always there. You know, all the other, YouTube guys are always there and everything else. There's always booths all over the place. I know BattleBox guys will be there. They don't have a booth this year because somebody screwed up, I guess. But
Brandon, just
Brandon,
joking.
way to go, Brandon. Actually, I don't even think he worked for BattleBox at that point in time.
I don't think it did.
Yeah.
We can still blame him for it though.
Oh yeah. Damn you, Kern. But anyway, so it's absolutely worth doing. The best part about Blade Show, at least the 3 times that I've been to Blade Show, is that on the last day, if they still have the knives that you want, dude, you buy them at like 1/8 the price of what you would actually
really?
pay for them. Because nobody wants to bring that shit back with them.
Yeah.
You know, who wants to, nobody wants to ship it back. So they'd rather just sell that shit to you, and at a discount at cost just so that they don't have to carry it back, So it's, if you're looking for anything in particular, you'll get a good deal. But on Sunday, man, when you're leaving, when you go to these tables and you're like, hey, do you still have that knife? Yeah, I still got a couple left. How much? It was a $200 knife. You're grabbing it for $50.
Wow. Nice.
So it is super, super sick, man. It's definitely worth doing. I mean, you'll find knives there for ridiculous money from custom makers that are like, well, I only made one of these, and so I want, $2,700 for this boot knife, and you'll find shit like that. But you'll also find a lot of the actual, manufacturers that you're used to that you like Tops and Spyderco and all that stuff. So you'll see all the stuff that's coming out for 2018, that nobody else has seen yet. And you'll see prototypes of stuff. And a lot of times they'll sell you prototypes too. And,
Really?
and the prototypes are marked right on the blade, prototype. And so if you're looking for something collectible, it's a cool time to get it because you can actually get a prototype blade while you're there, which is
Well, I'm glad you told me about
awesome.
that. I didn't even know it existed. That's cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to get down there.
Yeah, Blade Sports are there too. I know that a couple of guys ordered axes for me to dick around with while they're there. So we got a bunch of stuff going on up there. So it should be a lot of fun. I was a little late on getting my press passes, so hopefully I get those pretty soon.
Was that a difficult task or?
Nah, not really. It's I'm just once they got back to me, they said, "Hey, I looked at your YouTube page. I think no problem. We shouldn't have any issues." But I'm still waiting on them. I haven't seen them yet, so I'm still waiting to get them.
Right? Month and a half.
I got a month and a half, yeah. But normally there's a 30-day lay period on that, and I just did it like 2 weeks ago. So hopefully I don't have any issues. But yeah, because I definitely want to do a lot of filming there, not only for the channel, but I kind of have a different take on things, being a guy that's been into knives as long as I have, and I want to drop a lot of more knowledge on metal types and things like that because a lot of people I'm talking to, I'm on a few different forums here and there, but a lot of people have a lot of questions about sharpeners and edges and types of steel and things like that. And I kind of want to use this year's experience to kind of delve more into that from some of the leading knife experts in the country to let us know what they think of the different steels and what they think of the different sharpeners and things like that. So that it's kind of like I want to do this year. I kind of want to do like a beginner's class with some of the foremost experts in the country. And then, next year I'll step it up a little bit more, but I think that'll be kind of fun.
So do like a beginner's class for your channel?
Well, I could do that, but I think when you're talking to people like the owner of Tops or the designers for Spyderco or, like Blackie Collins or, any of those people, the, what's his name that designed the home front from Hawaii, he's from Kaneohe Bay.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Wasn't it Ken Onion?
Yeah, Ken Onion. Ken Onion goes to Blade Show once in a while. If you can run into Ken Onion and ask him questions about that stuff. But it can come from me, and most people, of course, trust what I say because they know who I am. But when it's coming from those guys that I look up to, it tends to be a little bit more powerful.
Right. So you're going to interview them, though, right? For your channel.
Yes, for the channel.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. For the channel. Uh-huh.
That'll be cool.
I'll
watch it.
Yep. Ken Onion, that's right. Yeah, it's funny because I know I have several of his knives. It was stuck in the back of my head. And when I was in the Marine Corps, I was actually stationed in Kaneohe Bay, which is where he lives.
Oh, cool.
Pretty interesting
So
stuff.
we're at like we're like at an hour and some.
Sure.
We don't need to wrap it up right now, do we? What do you
You don't
think?
have to if you got more to talk about.
Um,
I'm gonna put him on the spot. You see that, Bert? You see those wheels spinning in his head?
no, I have something I want to talk about, but I don't know. Oh man, I don't know.
Just go ahead. Just do it. There's only like
Okay.
one person watching. Drop it. Drop
I
it
know
like it's
we only
hot.
have 8 now. Or
Okay.
whatever.
That's all right. That's all right.
Anyway, so I found it kind of interesting that recently BattleBox sent out a thank you gift to subscribers randomly. Like they had
Yeah.
extra bags, range bags laying around.
Right.
And I found it really sad in a way. And I just thought it was kind of crazy that people found something to bitch about.
Oh my God. Don't
Out
even
of
get
that-
me started on that. Oh my God. I totally agree with you. What a bunch of freaking whiny bitches. I'm just saying, I mean, I'll put this out there because I totally agree with you. I see where you're at. The company is willing to give you a special gift, and you're going to piss and moan about somebody else getting it, not you. You kidding
Right.
me?
It just blows me away a little bit. And, like, I get it. Like, you wish you got it, but it was something that they did. They didn't announce it. They just sent it out to 250 people. They kind of had a tier thingy. I didn't get one.
Me either.
But I'm not bitching about it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it was a way to just say, hey, thank you to these people. And you know what? The more people that bitch and moan about not getting one, the less likely they are to ever do something like that in the future.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it makes me want to like walk up to these people, slap them on their face, and say, shut the hell up, because I want a chance at getting something in the future. You know what I mean?
Right. No, for sure. For sure. The fact that they took the time and the effort to create something to give away as a special thank you to random guests of the page or random purchasers of BattleBox, and then people piss and moan about it. It's like, oh my God, are you kidding me? That's like looking a gift horse in the mouth, really. I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. I mean, they do these giveaways monthly. Sometimes they do two, because sometimes they'll do a Facebook and a channel giveaway, and you're not paying for those. You're already a subscriber. I think this month's giveaway is the freaking tornado shelter.
Yeah, it's that Bolton tornado shelter.
And that's I don't know how much is that thing worth? Like $3,000?
Yeah, it's got to be close to that.
Like $3,000 freaking thing, and they're giving it away, and people are like just bitching. I'm just, oh my God, I mean, some asshole got this sweet ass kayak, that he won. I can't remember. Oh, I don't know who that would be. I mean, oh no, Chris got that kayak. That's right. No, never mind. Chris won a sweet kayak. I mean, other people are when it's other people we know won other things.
Sorry, I'm muted for just a second.
Okay. You're not. I can hear you. But anyways, so anyways, just people pissing and moaning kill me, man. There's no reason for it. And the forum has gotten, ever since the last box, the Mission 26 box, was it 20? Well, which was 27 was the dot box, right?
26 was dot. The most recent one.
Okay, so ever since 26, it's like the pissing and moaning just hasn't stopped. It's unbelievable. So, it's got to stop, or something has to be done about it, because it's even bringing me down. And I'm on that forum every day. I check it every single day. Even if I'm not posting, I still look at it every day. And lately it's been like, do I even want to look at the forum today? Because is it just going to be another bitch session? It gets a little bad. But now the only reason I check it is because of the people that PM me, because those are all the people I actually want to talk to and that I actually want to hear from, So I don't know. It's just kind of a sad scenario, and hopefully it turns around quickly. It should with this box, because I think that this box, even though I haven't got mine yet, even though I don't have a notification yet, I think that this box itself and the contents of it, from watching Chris's review, is solid, man. I think it's a good, solid box all the way around. I don't think there's anything in there that I won't actually use. So I don't see how people can piss or bitch about this one. Do you?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody will find a way. I mean, it's already happened. So,
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about you personally. Do you see a reason to piss and moan about it at all?
No. No. In my video, I said, the only bummer for me was that, this box didn't come out earlier. And just thinking about it, it's like hurricane monsoon season down in the Southeast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes sense that it comes out now for those folks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, what about subscribers up in Canada? And didn't it freaking snow in Colorado a week and a half ago? I mean,
yeah, but like I can't see anything that's not that
no, it's
crossed
totally,
to seasons.
Yeah, you're right. There is stuff that I will throw right into the rotation for using now. You know what I mean?
Like even those cleats, I forget what they're called, but those things that you pull over your shoes, yak tracks. Even those yak tracks, man, for walking in the mud with tennis shoes that would normally be slippery, I think those would work great for stuff like that.
Or climbing around wet rocks, on a hike or something like that. So.
Exactly. So it's not really necessarily, I wouldn't necessarily call it a seasonal box. I would call it any sort of storm, inclement weather type box. Yeah.
Totally true. And if you live in the Arizona desert, and I mentioned this in my video, you can find uses for a lot of that stuff as well. So,
right,
it's a solid box. I mean, the knife is freaking ginormous. It's awesome. Love that knife.
How does it feel in the hand?
It feels pretty good.
Does it?
Yeah.
I watched a couple of YouTube reviews on it, and either they loved it or they hated it. And it was the ones that loved it were all about it. The ones that didn't like it, the only thing that they didn't like about it, and the only thing they were bitching about, was that the back scales that come through the handle were sharp.
Sharp.
Yeah, like underneath where the micarta is, because the where the knife goes in, the two scales that come up through the inside, the inner scales.
The liners.
Yeah, the liners. The liners were sharp.
They were
That's
sharp.
exactly right. Yeah, the liner between the micarta and the blade. Yeah.
No, I mean,
No, on the top, like where your thumb would go, like where if there was jimping, where your thumb would go.
I'm not seeing anything sharp on this. I mean,
so open the blade, and then put your thumb on the grab it. Yeah, put your thumb down there. They were saying that was sharp. The metal sticking through was sharp there.
So where my index finger is?
No, where your thumb is. Yeah.
No, it's not sharp at all.
Oh, then I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
I mean, maybe they have pansy fingers and haven't done
Nancy hands. Maybe their
Yeah.
Nancy hands can't handle it. It's possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I mean, really, it feels like there's maybe a slight round on it on the scale, rounding it off just slightly.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I really don't feel it.
Okay.
The micarta feels great on this thing.
Oh, I love that type of micarta. That's canvas micarta, I'm guessing, right?
Right. I think it is. I'm not a micarta expert, but
John?
It is, and that's exactly what's going to be on the Skinners.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
Nice.
really? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
So yeah, it's ginormous. I did carry it in the pocket. I did feel it there. You know what I mean? But it's still. I need to get a scale out and weigh it side by side with the Bastion.
Front? Oh, the Bastion. Yeah.
Yeah.
the Bastion.
I think that. Hey, I'm not a copycat. Anyways, I think that the Brazza might be heavier, just because. And I know they did a lot of cutouts on the inside of the liner in the Brazza. but I think it might be a little bit heavier. I don't know. Not sure.
Nah, they didn't cut out that much. Look at how thick those are, man.
I know.
That is
So
thick. That's some serious metal right there. This is a badass knife, though. I love this knife. It's my favorite. It's my all-to everyday carry all the time. Now that SOG, that is like some serious deep carry on that thing. How the loop goes on that, I was like, man, that is like disappear in your pocket type carry.
And one thing I didn't mention, but if you want to carry it on the other side, they have another pocket clip. They include another pocket clip so that you can move it over. Because this one right here, you can't move this to this side. They do include an extra pocket clip for you to adjust if you want to carry it on the other side for any reason.
But do you have to leave that one on?
No, you can take it off.
You can take it off?
It's not integral, no.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't think it is. It would make no sense to me that it would be.
That's why I was wondering.
Yeah, it's just a clip that can come off, but because of where and how it's put on, I know you guys can't really see very well because it's the webcam and the lighting, but because of how it's put on, you can't take this one and switch it to the other side.
Okay. I gotcha.
But
I may need to pull mine out to see if I could switch mine.
Do you have one of those, Burt?
No, I have a different one. I've got a little Benchmade I carry all the time, and
Yeah, Benchmade makes good knives too. The Bastion is this. You can only have it on the one side because it's inset within the within the handle, and there's no attachment points on the other side. But,
right.
That's okay. I carry it anyways. I really love this thing.
Yeah,
Ultimately-
somebody asked if anything sticked out. Let me see if I can get it in frame. So that's in front right pocket, and it barely sticks out. I mean,
Yeah, I mostly just see the clip. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
but it's in there. It takes up a bunch of space, but it's pretty low profile.
Yeah. Oh, I got you. So the angles don't line up if you switch it over. I got you.
Right.
Gotcha. So Michael Nichols says, looks deep. Nothing sticks out. Nice. Shane Crum says, that's what she said. Okay.
That's what everybody should say whenever anybody says something. That's what she said.
That's pretty good, man. That's pretty funny. All right, man. So, what do you guys think? Are we good for now? Should we wrap her up, or anything you'd like to add? Burt, is there anything that you'd like to add? Where can they find your book, brother?
Amazon. That's the place to get it. It's available in audio and paperback and Kindle. So, by the way, the guy that did the audio on that did an amazing job. I listen to audiobooks every once in a while.
I actually have both versions. I have the paper book and the audio because, I've been spending a lot. Every week I'm driving to Boca Raton, and I live in Sarasota, so it's the opposite side of the state from where I am. It's about a 3.5 hour drive. So I found that listening to that guy, talk makes 3.5 hours go like 5 seconds. I
really enjoy his. In fact, I just listened to 2 books that he did by an author named Boyd Craven.
Yeah.
I read any of his stuff, and anyway, he just got a really neat voice, and he's a nice guy too. But,
he does great. And then today I had about 8 hours of jury duty, so I got through like 15 chapters of the audio book listening to him. So.
Just sitting around waiting to find out if you're going to be on a jury.
Yeah, and I can't be on a jury, so it's impossible for me to be on a jury because of, being, prior law enforcement, and all my family is law enforcement. Every time I tell them that, they say, no, get them out of here, But they still make you sit through the whole damn thing. And
That's
so
awesome.
I was there at 8 o'clock this morning, and I got out of there at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So it was a long day of sitting in a freaking room with a bunch of stinky people that decided not to shower this morning. So it was god awful, man. God awful. And those guys are deciding if somebody's innocent or guilty. Makes me sad. those are the guys they picked. So good for them, I guess. But anyway, so no, that sucked. But no, that guy that does the audio version of that. If you guys have brown chicken, brown cow. If you guys have Audible for Amazon, I think if you've never downloaded Audible yet, you can. If you download it, you get a free book every month.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you don't have this book and you want to just check it out before buying the paper copy or the paperback copy, you can get it on Audible for free. You can try it out. You still get your royalties if they do that, right?
By the way, I've actually got a few copies for the Audible version. For some reason, I can't give away books on Kindle or paperback, but I can give away. I think I've got like 10 more codes left. If any of your listeners here would like one, I'll send it to them, and it's free. So for the Kindle version, the narrator's name is Kevin Pierce, and he's an amazing guy. He's got a great voice.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, he does a lot of post-apocalyptic books. So if you like his narration style, you'll hear him time and time again, especially in this genre. And it's I almost expect him to do the same characters in books, and it's sometimes I get confused because I've listened to so many, and I hear his voice, and he does the same voice that he does in this other book, and I'm like, oh my God, what story am I listening to right here?
Yeah.
Hey, John, is it okay if we run that through you, John?
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Okay, so if you'd like one of those codes, email John at, go ahead, John, give him your Gmail.
beerbourbonbushcraft@gmail.com.
So
Or
there's no and.
You can email me directly. Mine's pretty easy. It's burtwalker@gmail.com. So just
Either way.
send me a note, and I'll hand those things out until they're gone. So I don't know how many I've got left, but probably more than are listening here. So
Well,
That's awesome. Thank you, Burt.
Just remember, Burt, that once this gets posted, it's there forever, and we'll get a lot more viewers tomorrow than we got live today. I guarantee it. So this will get a few hundred views probably in the next couple of days. But,
great.
But just because they didn't watch live doesn't mean they're not going to see it. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We tend to get more people watching in the next few days, especially because we've been offline for I think 3 weeks, which is kind of a long period for us. But but anyways, other than that, John, you got anything you want to add, brother?
No, I'm good. Good show.
Okay, Chris, you got anything, buddy?
No, I'm good. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thank you, Burt, so much for joining us today. We really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And we'd love to have you back on sometime if you don't mind.
Anytime. Yeah, I enjoyed talking with you guys, and it was really nice to meet you.
He said anytime, so it's going to be Outfox with Bourbon and Walker. Or Outfox with Walker Bourbon. I'm sure we can find some of that. So that's outstanding. All right, very cool. All right, so that's it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. For those of you watching afterwards, I apologize for my mic going in and out. I have no idea what was going on with that. But regardless, at least this last section is very long, which is outstanding. Yeah, so that's good. But anyways, we'll talk to you guys soon. See you guys later.
All right, thanks.
Losing both?